Hello everyone, this is Shadi Reis from Detroit Medical Center, and we are at SIF 22. With me is Dr. Morton Kern. He is the Chief of Cardiology at VA Long Beach, and he's Professor of Medicine at UC Irvine. Dr. Kern, always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Shadi.
We just finished a session that was phenomenal about conversation hemodynamic, but one of the narrow topic in hemodynamic, the use of hemodynamic support in structural heart.
Yes. So Dr. Reisig did a really incredible series of 3 cases which were in cardiogenic shock, near death. He had wide open MR in those 3 cases. He used the Impella mechanical support to keep them going while he then put in a mitral clip. They could not be weaned off pressors, they could not be extubated, they could not have any function on the MCS by itself.
Absolutely.
But they used the mitral clip to reduce the regurg, and when they did reduce the regurg, they were able to escalate removal of all the equipment and survival of these 3 patients. A dramatic event. The hemodynamics were clear. I mean, they had wide open mitral regurgitation by pressure, they had it by Doppler, they had it by pulmonary vein reversal, and it was important to recognize the hemodynamics. And David did, of course. The MCS device, I think, provided real support to get them through to the period of the clip. The question was asked, could they have done this without mechanical support?
Exactly. And when to implement MCS in these cases?
Yes. The answer, David says, was no. They would not have survived to the time of clip if we hadn't supported them. In other cases, not necessarily deep in shock, they probably, the issue is still not so clear. But many could get by without it, but I think for that type of critically ill patient, the more into class D and certainly E, if you can use it in E, C, D, shock.
Especially, he mentioned that they were on drips.
Yes.
He said running buckets of drips on these patients, so that was kind of the key for MCS to be.
Yes, so that inotropic support doesn't do what the mechanical repair of a mitral valve can do, and it can't replace the power of the MCS. We know the comparison between MCS, the cardiac power output, and the pressure volume area is much more impacted by mechanical than it is by inotropes. In fact, it's negatively impacted by inotropes. Even though your blood pressure is up, the rest of your heart is suffering. And your ischemia is worse, your deterioration is worse. Unless you get them off pressors, they may never get better.
I have one question during the session, but obviously it's a big session. If it is functional MR and you're putting a mechanical support to unload the LV, you're shrinking them. LV. Don't you think that's going to also alleviate the mitral regurgitation?
Well, it may improve it a little, but it won't eliminate it, because remember, this is a leaflet problem. Well, not always. So in functional, if you dilate the ring and you get functional regurg and you shrink the annulus back down and change the ventricular configuration, that might improve mitral regurgitation. But neither of these cases we saw was that. This was structural. There was a flail papillary muscle in one, leaflets in another. The issue of functional mitral regurg is really challenging, and I'm not sure that mechanical support is what those need. I mean, many patients that we did that in the past got balloon pumps, but I think it was buying time till the myocardium recovered rather than improving the acute mitral regurgitation so much.
So it seems like hemodynamic continue to evolve beyond MI and every conference we go to.
So mechanical support is going to continue to play an important role, and hemodynamics are part of it. What we didn't talk about today was the need for a right heart cath.
Exactly.
And I think that is an underestimated critical piece of information, all the right heart hemodynamics, and its role in both effective pump use, make sure your filling pressures are right, and understanding pulmonary hypertension and V waves and mitral regurgitation, and your filling pressures on the right side.
Calculating CPO, calculating PAPI, and all that.
I think it's critical.
So more to learn in the structural space and hemodynamics. Dr. Kern, thanks so much for your time. Please watch this video and others on SIF YouTube channel. This is Shadi Reis from Detroit Medical Center. Dr. Kern, thanks again.
Thank you.